News Talk is online. News Talk Online is a production of Paltalk.com, the largest multimedia interactive program on the internet with more than 4 million unique users on demand on iTunes and on YouTube and on my blog, GaryBaumgarten.com, where you are encouraged to post your comments whether you agree with yours truly or not. And thanks to our good friends at CRN Digital Talk Radio, we're syndicated to an additional 12 million households. I am your host, Gary Baumgarten. We welcome those affiliates joining us here at the bottom of the hour. Well, this next guest I am so excited to have on the show because from the almost very beginning of the 9/11 coverage, I kept saying, what about Saudi Arabia? What about Saudi Arabia? And the only one I know who's really doing something about it is Stephen Cozen, C-O-Z-E-N. He is an attorney. He represents family members of those who were killed on September the 11th, 2001. He has sued Saudi Arabia and several Islamist charities, seeking to hold them financially liable for the 9/11 terror attacks. The case received a recent setback when a judge removed the kingdom and the royal family as defendants, but that decision is being appealed to the United States Supreme Court, and a number of Saudi charities, which I presume don't exist without the approval, at least, of the royal family, are still named as defendants. Here to sort it all out, Stephen Cozen, a lawyer in Philadelphia, of all places. Stephen, welcome to News Talk Online on Paltalk.com.
Thank you, Gary. How are you?
I am terrific. I am frustrated that at every turn in this case, whether it's you or whether it's investigative reporters that have been trying to follow the money, there have been attempts to thwart getting the record, which would, the truth, as they say, shall set you free, including attempts by our own government, the United States of America. What does the government stand to gain by precluding you from following the discovery and allowing us to find out who really was behind the financing of the September 11th attacks?
Well, in the first place, I don't think the government stands to gain anything, and I don't think the government is trying to, in any way, shape, or form, preclude us from finding out. I think it's important to understand exactly what we did here, who we did it for, and how the case proceeded so that you get it in context.
All righty.
After the attacks of 9/11, our firm, Cozen & O'Connor, which is pretty well known around the world for our work in catastrophe litigation, particularly in the representation of the insurance industry, was contacted by a number of our insurance company clients who paid out literally billions of dollars to people who were damaged, businesses that were damaged, buildings that were lost in downtown Manhattan as a result of the events of 9/11. In addition to those clients, of course, we now represent a significant number of people who were killed or injured as a result of those events. And our investigation led us to conclude that there was civil liability on the part of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia as a result of their control and domination of Islamic charities such as the Saudi High Commission, which was the charity that they used to focus on the plight of Muslims in Bosnia and Herzegovina. And they significantly controlled and manipulated those charities to the extent that the charities became the agents or alter egos of the kingdom. And those charities became, over time, an integral component of Al-Qaeda. We were able to establish through interviews with people in Serbia, in Bosnia, in the Philippines, and in other places in the world, the manner in which the Saudi charities, dominated and controlled by the kingdom, directed exclusively by various princes of the royal family, became launching pads for attacks against Western civilization and were used as fronts for that purpose. so that actual Al-Qaeda Mujahideen militants actually manned the offices of various of these charities, particularly the Saudi High Commission for Bosnia and Herzegovina and several of the charities in the Philippines. So we were of the view that there clearly was civil liability, and that under our judicial system we could obtain jurisdiction over those charities and over the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia by filing a lawsuit, naming them as defendants, and asserting jurisdiction under the Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act, which was passed in 1976 by the Congress in order to allow U.S. citizens to assert jurisdiction over foreign governments, their agencies, instrumentalities, and organs when they felt they had been injured either in a commercial activity or in a non-commercial tort situation. The simplest thing for you, Gary, and those who listen or participate in your blog are the example of somebody with the permission of a government driving a vehicle loaded with dynamite into a building in downtown Washington. That is a tort. That is tortious conduct. It's certainly a step above negligence. It's intentional, but it is nevertheless a tort, and therefore, under the Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act, under an exception to the Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act, which grants immunity to foreign governments and their agents, the tort exception would apply and allow you to sue them for damages, for death, personal injury, or property damage, as long as what they were doing was did not fall within the discretionary function exclusion to that exception. And in our view, any violation of international law or basic